I'm going to go over how spec maps work and how you can best manage them and make your car look a lot better. So the first thing you're going to do in Affinity is you're going to stay in your designer persona, and we're going to go straight to our custom spec map layer group. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our blue channel and we're going to turn it off. The next step is we're going to take each of these parts. Let me turn on the spec map so you can see. It's based on the color that it states. So this is red channel metallic. So everything in here is going to become metallic in nature. I'm going to slide this red slider all the way to the right. Red is going to be your metallic. So if you're messing with the spec map and you make something 100% red, that means 100% metallic on the texture. And we're going to set the blend mode to multiply. We're going to turn off the red channel metallic. We're going to go down to green. We're going to do the same exact thing, except we're going to do all the way to green. And green is the roughness, so it'll be more matte. It's not going to be as shiny. So if you kind of combine and play with both of them, it'll make it a little bit more tactile in look rather than being like a smooth paint job. And leave that on multiply. And then we're going to go to our base paint of green, and we're going to change the color to whatever you'd like. So personal preference, I like to send this kind of up a little high and add a little bit of red in there to make it a little bit of a nicer color. But if I went all the way red, and I put, it's going to be super shiny. And then if I go all the way down, it's going to be super duper shiny. So it's like a pure metallic paint. So it's all dependent on what you like and what you want your livery to do. So I'll kind of set it here for this example. But I'm going to show you how to make it so that, you know, when you're painting, the changes are updated in the spec map. So I'm going to turn this off. All right, so now you're going to go paint your car. You're ready to go. You're feeling excited. Let's turn on the wire map so you can kind of see what we're doing. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to put a big rectangle on the top of the car because that looks super cool. And let's make it pink. So I've got a pink rectangle. So the problem is that if I wanted this pink rectangle to be a different texture or have a different look to the rest of the car, I would have to copy this, so Control J, and move it up into the spec map. And so now it's going to take, because it's just a color, so iRacing is taking the color of the TGA and turning it into what it sees here. If you just click on this, so it's going to be doing 100% reflectivity, 14 out of 255 on the roughness, and it's going to be taking in pretty much max clear code. But I want it to just be, say, purely reflective. So I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to send the green all the way over. So now it's just a big reflective pink. Now it looks purple square / rectangle. But now the problem is I'm like, actually, you know, I'm going to go back to my paint. What I want to do is I want to move this to the hood. And so I take this rectangle and I move it down to the hood. But now the problem is that now this reflective piece is stuck in the old location of the spec map. It doesn't update. And this pink now just becomes the original color. So how do we fix that? Well, luckily, Affinity has a really cool feature called symbols that you can utilize to make these changes across different areas. There's tons more applications of these, but I'm just going to do the most basic of ones. So we're going to do a big giant stripe right down the middle of the car. We're going to make sure we're doing it in our paintable area. Big red stripe. Actually, let's make it, let's make it red. Red looks cool. So boom, now we got a big red stripe. Now, because the spec map hasn't been updated with anything, it still thinks that it's going to be slapping this on top of the car. So it's taking just whatever default we have. But we want to make it reflective. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a symbol of this rectangle. We're going to Control J on it. We're going to drag it up into the spec map. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to unsync. We're going to take this rectangle and we're going to layer effect and make sure we color overlay all the way to the right. And so because this stripe already is 100% red, this actually doesn't do anything. It's already the way we want it. But if I wanted to change the color, I'll show you what happens. So we're going to resync. Now the next step for us is say, you know, I don't love the red. You know, I think it looks kind of bad. let's make it green, right? Great. Now it's green, but it's still going to maintain that red piece. So it's always going to be reflective no matter what we do to it. Now, if we want to take this piece and we want to say, I want to make it, a little bit more aligned with the driver, we slide it down this way. It's going to move that spec map piece with it. And so now we're able to move this piece around however we want while keeping the reflectivity that we want with the spec map. And so this is something that you can apply to all pieces of your paint. So if you bring in and say you drag an image, I'm just gonna hope that I don't have any weird images in here. And say we've got, a car brand and we want to put the Mustang logo on this car because, we're crazy. So we've got the Mustang logo in here. All right, it's right across the top. So the problem is that it's doing the same thing, right? It's, I threw it in the spec map folder. So if I throw it in the same folder, it'll also copy here. So whatever you put in to the symbol folder will now be copied across. So it'll take on whatever, is going on here. So I don't want it in there. So I'm going to pull it out and it'll disappear from the spec map. But I want this to be way more prominent and not to be interacting with this. So for example, like these stripes here are now reflective because the spec map isn't showing any changes. It's throwing it on top. So what I can do, and even, I'll add the car decals in too, because this will be a good thing. So I'm going to Control G, so I'm going to group these two together. I'm going to slide them above that symbol. I'm going to create a new symbol. How about we just name it decals? So every decal on the car, here I'll turn them off, so you can see all the decals on the car are going to be included in this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control J on this. And I'm going to drag it up, put it right above that symbol there because we want it to be on top. And now what we're going to do is we're going to unsync because we don't want this change to be made. And to the whole folder, we're going to do a layer effect on the whole folder. We're going to change the color to straight green, so all roughness. And we're going to resync. And now these symbols are green, so they're going to have maximum roughness, so it's going to stand out on top of your base coat. So if you look at the spec map, now all these pieces are green. Other people that I know, like Elliot, like to do a pure black, so they'll go all the way black on it. And so it'll be a little bit different. I like the all green though, so Control Z, get back to the green. I just think it pops a little bit better. But now, same exact thing. If you're not on the spec map and you're like, I don't really like where this Mustang logo is, or I want to make it smaller and I want to move it over here, it's going to copy that spec map. That spec map's going to move. There will be times where you move a little too fast. If I do something like this, it's not going to update fast enough. So if I do this and then try to drag it over, so it'll do a little bit of a ghost effect. All you got to do is just drag it and move it a pixel and it'll update itself just fine. So that's just a very basic introduction to symbols and how you can utilize it to make your spec maps look a lot better. And I'll just give you guys one extra little fun tip to change the car body color. You're just going to go over here, make sure you select your node tool, or even just FX, color overlay, and let's say you just want to make it like a nice pink. Boom. Now you got a pink lemonade car, watermelon car. There you go. And, you can do this with any piece, and it looks like you can change the interior car color. Looks like it's this piece over here, so if we hide something and bring it back. Yep. So if we want to say, hey, actually, I want to make this, I'm crazy. I'm going to make this green. Now the inside of the car is green. How fun. All right. Hope this helped. Not sure what other videos I'll make on this, but if you guys have any suggestions, let me know, and I'll be happy to accommodate.